Hello, I'm Saurav Sanyal and welcome to yet another interesting episode of OP Talks. Today we are honored to be joined by a voice that has echoed across continents for the voiceless giants of our planet. She is an award winning filmmaker, a National Geographic explorer, the best selling author, and the creator of Gods in Shackles, the groundbreaking documentary that shook the world's conscience about the plight of captive elephants in India. But beyond the lens and accolades lies a woman driven by fierce compassion, cultural connection, and relentless curiosity. Joining us today on World Elephant Day is Sangita Iyer, founder of the Voice for Asian Elephant Society, whose journey from journalism to wildlife filmmaking is as compelling as the majestic animals she fights for. So, without wasting any time, welcome to our show, Obi Talks. It's an honor to have you amongst us, and we are here talking about elephants and the World Elephant Day. Now, coming from a person who has dedicated her life to elephants, so can you just say to the audience, to the viewers, what exactly is all about World Elephant Day and why we actually observe it? Why we observe this?
Well, elephants around the world, African and Asian elephants, are in dire straits. All of them have been declared endangered, and the bull Asian elephants in India, in particular, are critically endangered because there are less than one bull elephant for every 60 female elephants in certain areas. But overall, in Africa and in Asia, all elephants are in deep, deep trouble because of numerous threats, mostly human caused threats. And so World Elephant Day was launched in 2012, and it was basically co-founded by a Canadian filmmaker called Patricia Sims, who happens to be a dear friend of mine, as well as she collaborated with the Elephant Reintroduction Foundation of Thailand, and she founded this World Elephant Day. Basically, the main purpose of this World Elephant Day is to raise awareness of the plight of Asian and African elephants and encourage people to find ways to protect and conserve these supremely intelligent and highly social animals. And they're so culturally relevant to people of India. And so that's what World Elephant Day is all about. And to also bring all of the elephant organizations, conservation organizations together under one roof and say, hey, what is it that we can learn from each other? What is it that you are doing that is working that we can implement? What is that we are doing that you can implement? So it's almost like a collaborative approach. And so I'm really, really happy and really excited to be talking with you on this very special World Elephant Day. And so thank you so much for thinking of our beloved elephants.
If we rewind, if we just go back in time for a while, you grew up in Kerala, and the element of elephant is woven into its culture. And I ask in a very a different tone, if I ask you, how was your first experience that you can remember with an elephant? How did it change, or just how was your first experience with elephants?
So when I was about a 3 or 4-year-old child, my grandparents used to take me to a temple in Palakkad, which is where I was born and raised. And they would take me to the temple. I didn't have anything to do with praying and worshiping. They would just put me with the elephant, leave me with the elephant, and go do their worship service. Meanwhile, I'll hang out with the elephants. Elephant, this one bull, majestic bull elephant. And he would hold me when I was such a young child. Like he would use his trunk to, it just touches me to make sure that as though I was his child or something, and we would play, would hang out together. And when my parents came, and by the way, the mahouts, that is the handlers, knew that me and this bull elephant were best friends. And so when my grandparents returned, they would actually have to drag me because I'd start crying because I didn't want to leave this elephant. And I feel that emotion even today. So my connection with elephants began when I was a really young child. And of course, life took over because my family moved to Mumbai. And even in Mumbai, well, occasionally, I would see elephants being paraded in streets, and it would conjure up memories of my childhood days back in Kerala. And then, of course, life brought me to Canada, and nothing, like life took over. And then in 2013, that was a really poignant year for me It's like my whole world came full circle because I was in India for my father's death anniversary. And through a chain of events, there are so many beautiful, divine, synchronistic events that happened. And through those events, instead of going directly to Mumbai, where my father's funeral was supposed to take place, I ended up in Kerala. I went to see in Tamil Nadu, actually, I went to see my cousins there. I don't know what detour happened. And when I was there, I ended up talking to a conservationist who I had known for several years. And I said, I want to see elephants. Can you take me back to see elephants? And he said, as a matter of fact, I just received a call a few moments ago that an elephant has fallen into a trench and I'm on my way to rescue that elephant. I said, I want to go. I want to go. And I dropped everything and I went with him. And there he was, the same majestic bull elephant inside the trench, his four legs up in the air, and he was panicking because thousands of people had surrounded him. And because this conservationist was from WWF, we got access. I was standing right above this elephant and I was looking at him like, oh my God, this is like the same bull elephant. And I told Mohan Raj, I said, we got to do everything we can to rescue him.
My God.
We waited from 10 o'clock in the morning until 7. They finally dug out the trench, they pulled him out and everything. And then after a couple of hours, he entered the forest. And that is when my whole life came full circle. And I said, how amazing it is that these people are actually preserving, protecting elephants. And then he said, you really want to see what these people are doing? I said, what are they doing? He said, I want you to go back to the temples. And I said, oh my God, take me back to the temples. He said, come back in December and I'll take you. And my whole journey began again in 2013, December.
My God. Divine intervention. The make sure to that you will be there and see what happened with the elephant. When, this thing's actually very emotional though, and it actually makes you feel like these, we call them gentle giants, but we don't treat them gently, and we don't see them like a giant. We don't respect them like a giant, isn't it? It just breaks something inside you, right? But then again, seeing the elephant in Kerala, we see elephants as a divine entity. It's as if it's part of our culture, and yet we worship elephants in different form, and yet we see elephants, uh, you know, extreme cruelty towards them. We see them with extreme cruelty. How do you interpret these two standards that we see elephants with? One place we see them as as a divine object, a divine entity, a divine presence, and the very next moment, the cruelty that you have seen. And both are happening at the same time, at the same context. Like,
Yeah.
that is scary. How do you
Yeah.
interpret that?
Yeah. So it's a real tragic paradox. That's just the two words that stand out for me. It's a tragic paradox because on the one hand, we worship Lord Ganesh,
Yeah.
he's the remover of all obstacles. He's the God of wisdom. He's the clearer of all, pathways and just gives us wisdom. We
Yeah.
worship Lord Ganesh, who is the embodiment of elephants. And on the other hand, we are actually exploiting elephants in the name of culture and religion. And that's the sad part. This is something that people are not aware of. They look at these majestic caparisoned decorated elephant and they just are so mesmerized by the elephants, but they don't understand behind the scenes what's going on. And that's what I captured in my film Gods in Shackles, because in December when I returned, I saw with and I'm as a videographer, I started filming what I witnessed. When I was there in 2013, I saw so many blind elephants, tears flowing down their faces, pus cutting, the chains cutting into their flesh, pus
God.
oozing out of their legs, massive tumors on the hips. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, this is not what I saw with that bull elephant when I was a child. I had never seen the way the elephants are being treated here ever in my life, because when I was a child, it was quite a while ago, elephants were treated more like a member of the family. They were rescued, they were, given food, water, and shelter. But here they were deprived of food, water, and shelter. Nothing. All they were doing is renting these elephants to the so called temples that are supposed to teach compassion and kindness and love. And in those same temples, these elephants were being paraded beneath the scorching sun, deprived of food, water, and shelter, tears flowing down their faces, pus oozing from their ankles. And I said, okay, I just can't walk away from this. So I started documenting everything. And again, divine intervention, this movie, it became a movie. I didn't ever think it would become a movie. I just started documenting, thinking, what am I going to do now with all this footage? I had about 22 hours of footage. And I came back and I
Wow.
spoke with my media colleagues, and they said, Sangita, you got to make a movie out of this. I said, I have never made a movie. Are you kidding me? They said, you produce, broadcast news like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. So just think about 5-minute segments and then make it into a movie. And so I got so much help from like the Discovery Channel Canada president. He guided me. He was my executive, media executive, who kind of guided me through this. I found the best CBC story writer, and along with him, we wrote the story. I found the best editor, the sound mixer, and the best music composers. And I had the opportunity to sing all of my, Sanskrit mantras and stuff like that. It just made me feel that I am part of this sacred, beautiful Hindu culture. And yet, the way the elephants are being treated is nothing Hindu. It's nothing to do with Hinduism. It has everything to do with exploitation and minting money, because these private elephant owners, they lease out the elephants for lakhs and lakhs of rupees. And so that's what I exposed in my film Gods in Shackles.
The word gods in shackles, when it pops up, it's like, how come gods will be in, how can we put shackle on gods? But you have seen it. So can you
Yeah.
and the way it just goes, gods in shackles, and the SIN goes in red, and we just see, oh my god, the
Yeah.
true meaning actually lies in the write up. Everything is white and those three words is in red. Are we mastered ignorance? But anyway,
Yeah.
what's in shackles? How did you come up with that name?
Yeah.
Even
I
if
love what you said. Yeah. We have mastered ignorance. And that's precisely what it is. Gods, like, as I said earlier, on the one hand, we worship Lord Ganesh. And, we have Ganesh Chaturthi, and we have, in Maharashtra, Mumbai, where I went to school. They take Ganesh and they kind of wander around in the Ganpati Bappa Moria and
Take it,
stuff
Maharaj.
like that. And yeah, and they do that everywhere, like all across India. And then on the other hand, these same gods, like what's the difference between Lord Ganesha and elephants? Elephants are exactly the embodiment of Lord Ganesh. Don't you see the similarities? I really wanted to, I was hoping this would cut into their psyche. Okay. And I was really, that was the whole purpose. It's like, I just wanted to cut into their heart and say, look what you're doing. God's in shackles. You're shackling, you're chaining and parading and enslaving the same God you worship. Don't you see that? Like, how can you be, like you said, mastered ignorance? It's almost like the blind beliefs, the misguided myths, and everything that, people have been kind of believing without questioning, without challenging the authorities, without challenging the culture. Culture is supposed to evolve, not just evolve by way of living a very rich and sophisticated life where you have so many cars and technology. That's not evolution. Conscious evolution is where we're facing a crisis across the world. In India in particular, it's a spiritual nation. People from around the world come to India for spiritual retreats. And yet, in the background, this is what is going on. And I wanted to expose this. And, most recently, I was contacted by somebody. There's this saint called Amma in Kerala. She has a captive elephant called Lakshmi. And we signed a petition and we said, now you are the saint, and you are beloved. Everybody loves you around the world. Why would you want to keep an elephant shackled? Why would you want to keep an elephant in captivity? And so we are signing a petition to make sure that, she understands this is not something the world accepts. And she's renowned in Germany, France, Britain, and everything. We are spreading the word that you guys better start asking her questions. The good news with Gods and Shackles is that I think that was probably something that you were wondering as to how did Gods and Shackles impact the people, and how was the film received. Surprisingly, it was amazing. Most people, after the movie was done, we had the launch in many major theaters in Kairali and all of those big theaters across Kerala, and in Bangalore, and in areas in Tamil Nadu, because these are the three states where they exploit elephants in the name of culture and religion in particular. And so they would come and hold my hand, and they would do this, and they would say thank you for exposing, and all of these things were great. And then activists started taking this movie and talking in their local discussions. And then you had the media that was emboldened to produce more such stories, like written print stories and short films and TV interviews, and it just has become a movement. And right now I'm so happy to share with you that many temples have started using robotic elephants. They have completely given up live elephants, and they're using robotic elephants. And my organization, Voices for Asian Elephants, we have contributed about 3 or 4 robotic elephants, and we are going to contribute more in February of next year.
See, there is a way, I guess. There is a way, just need to find it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, now, if you go back to the Gods and Shackles, while filming Gods and Shackles, and sorry for the viewers, I'm just cutting in this. I'm just going a bit backstage. Okay,
Yeah.
I got emotional talking with ma'am over here regarding something, and I would like to know. Now, coming back to our interview, I would like to know: was there any very a very specific moment during the shoot, which was basically not planned as a shoot for Gods in Shackles, as you said, but during the whole process of making Gods in Shackles, if I have to ask you, if there was any one moment which you can say, and this is a moment one should know, and it messed with me real bad. It actually, it would be wrong saying attacked your psyche in a way, because it was in a way that brought you over here in this whole situation. But one moment that you would see that this is a nerve-wracking one. Was there any specific moment, a specific elephant?
Oh my goodness, my beautiful Lakshmi. And I will send you her video, which is on YouTube, and it's actually many people have viewed it. I really bonded with her on such a deep level. I went to see her, and actually I was observed her from a distance, and she started swaying and swaying. A lot of people, again, like you said, mastering ignorance, they think that because they're swaying, they're dancing. Actually, they're stressed and very, very upset, and they're wondering what's going to happen. Who's this new person? And they're very stressed. So she started swaying back and forth, side to side. And I just stood there quietly to let her do what she was doing. After a while, she just stopped. And then she started stretching her trunk and feeling me out. And then I walked closer to her, and I went closer, and she was quiet, and she was observing me very quietly like this. She was fine. I went and stood very close to her, just like right next to her. She put her trunk around me, and she started smelling me. And the first place her trunk went to was my neck, because that's what they do in their elephant thing. They put their trunk around their neck, on the back and on the buttocks and stuff like that. She started sniffing me. And then the mahout came running. He's like, Lakshmi, Lakshmi. I said, no, she's okay with me. I'm not afraid of her. And then he watched how Lakshmi and I started bonding. I held her hands. I held the tip of her trunk, and then she sat down. And then I started rubbing her forehead, and then I started like really kind of making her know how much I love her. And then I took a hose and I started spraying her with water because it was so hot. She didn't even have a roof above her. And so I fought for that. And I told the owner, I said, you keep her, you make money. Can you not make even a roof for her? Immediately the next day, they made a roof for her. And then they made a roof for all of the elephants. They had 3 elephants in their backyard, and they made roofs for every single one of them. And I started talking to her, communicating. I started visiting her frequently. So my bond with her grew. Then one fine day in November of 2015, I still so vividly remember. I was visiting Kerala to film the last portions, and I wanted to see her again. Little did I know at the time this would be a tragic ending for me. I went there and I saw that I actually called the Mahout and he didn't answer the phone. I called the second Mahout and I said, "Where is Venugopal?" And he said, "He's not here." I said, "Why?" He said, it's his holiday." And I said, "I'm coming to see Lakshmi." He said, "Well, you're going to be really sad when you see her." And I said, "What happened?" He said, "I can't tell you much, but I would suggest that you don't come." I said, "No, this is why I'm going to come." So I went to the backyard only to see that her left eye was severely injured and it was almost blinded. All I could see was a white thing here. Her eye was completely gone. So I asked him, "What happened? Why? What happened to her eye?" And he put his head down. I said, "What happened?" And he said, "Venugopal took the stick and hit her, took the bullhook and hit her. It hit her eye, and she's now permanently blind." I was shattered. And I told myself, I cannot believe that you guys would treat such a docile and gentle creature in such a rude way. Why did he do that? Oh, because she took his food. I said, "Did he feed her breakfast in the morning?" And he said, "No." I said, "Maybe she was hungry. Do you know elephants eat a lot of food because they're big animals and you're going to starve her throughout the day and expect her to go in circles?" The poor thing was hungry. And the way you treated her was by making her blind. I lost it. And then the owner came and and I had the camera. So I started filming everything that was going on because the Mahout came back when he knew I was there and he pretended like he was loving her and stuff like that. I filmed everything and he completely avoided me for a very long time. And then he started treating this elephant. But what he did was so rude. 3 or 4 people sitting on her because she didn't want her eye to be treated. She was afraid it was painful. They popped out her eyeball and then they poured medication in her eye. This is not the way to do anything. Everything they did was unscientific and everything was featured in my film, Gods and Shackles. This tragic story of Lakshmi was the ending of my film. And that is with Lakshmi, she is still, still in captivity. I tried to rescue her. I tried to put her in a sanctuary where she could be looked after. But people are clinging to the culture so much so that they just don't they're blinded by their cultural beliefs that they're unable to see clearly the suffering of the other beings, the suffering of elephants. So that's the heartbreaking story of Lakshmi that I still carry in my heart with guilt, helpless, and I every single day I'm like, "Lord Ganesha, you showed me this, and do you really know that you're not giving me a solution to helping her?" And I always ask this question, and I have a conversation with Lord Ganesh every day, that why did you show me this if there was no solution? So I'm heartbroken.
Mission you have, somehow deep down the lines, it would have made someone angry, would have created some problems, some ruckus, some backlashes would be coming towards you. Was there any backlash, and how did you handle that?
Yeah, of course there were backlash. When my movie was screening at Kairali, the police had to go and do bomb testing in the theater because the elephant owners had threatened that they'd blow up the theater if this movie was
My
screened
God.
because it would cut into their pocketbook. Everywhere I go, even today when I travel to Kerala, I get VIP police protection. because my life is threatened constantly. I get emails, and you'll see like so many media coverage as well in Indian Express, that I was bullied. I'm still being bullied on social media. They come and say all kinds of nasty things, trying to tarnish my reputation. But that's not happening, because through my organization I'm trying to do some good work there, and they're trying to tarnish my reputation so that my donors will not donate money to our cause. So that's what they're trying to do. But my donors know me all too well, and the police know me. The chief minister of Kerala, he knows me personally. And following this book, this documentary, I also wrote a book called Gods in Shackles: What Elephants Can Teach Us About Empathy, Resilience, and Freedom. And so that goes a lot deeper into, the psyche of elephants, and how incredibly intelligent they are, how family oriented they are, and how social they are, just like us. They love to be with their mom and dad, and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, because I was threatened, my work in Kerala has substantially reduced, except that I am now providing robotic elephants. So that has given me an opportunity to go back. So I'm doing a little bit at a time. But since November 2015 to this day, I have not seen Lakshmi, because they prevented me from going to see her.
if if this video reaches the right person, without any, you know holding back any ego, those kind of thing, just make sure that she could meet Lakshmi. It's just one meeting is what we want,
Yeah.
just one meeting. But then again,
Yeah.
the things that you have said about this, uh, the empathy angle, that uh, elephants are animal of immense empathy, very social, and they feel just like us, and they're very very intelligent. I hear, when I was kid, my mom used to say me that, elephants have better memory than you have. I used to think she used to mock me, but now I realize it's true. They have very good. They're one of the animals who have great intelligence. Like, they have good memory. They remember real good. And when we take this highly emotionally capable, gentle giant being, and we just take them away from their home, it's like taking a human completely away from their home and putting them in a complete alien planet. Now do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
What kind of effect does it have on a little tiny calf, that elephants we have taken away from their social being, and now
Yeah.
they're like amongst
Yeah.
complete alien animals, and then you saw these two-legged beings everywhere.
Yeah.
What
Exactly.
happens with them? What happens with them?
Yeah, they become psychotic. They go through post traumatic stress disorder. But let me take a step back, and I'll explain to you. Elephants, the brain of elephants is 3 times as large as human brain. Their
That was right.
cortical brain, which is situated here. In India we call it the third eye, but in neuroscience this is called the cortical brain. And so our Hindu saints, even before the neuroscience and all this stuff was released, they knew that there was something special here. And so the cortical brain that is situated here is so highly evolved for the elephants, that I know I spent like about 10, 15 years with them, captive and wild elephants, filming and stuff like that. Every time they see us from a distance, they will stop, they will observe, and they will respond, not react like humans impulsively react. They respond thoughtfully. If they realize that you're not a threat, they will back off, and they will say, okay, we'll mind our business, you mind your business. They will never come to attack you. This is one of the things that I find in Odisha, and we'll talk about this when we come to Odisha and all of the
Yes.
other wild elephants. But in the wild, elephants, if they don't feel threatened, they will never attack you. In captivity, even in captivity, they are so forgiving, that in spite of all of these things that the mahouts do to them, hit them, beat them, and everything, they don't punish them. Of course, when they're unable to tolerate, they're like, I just cannot take this madness anymore. Then they kill a mahout. But that's when they become psychotic. They go through post traumatic stress disorder, a condition that's called PTSD, which is a condition that even humans face. When we go through trauma, everything, every bit of move, it's like you're kind of scared. And that's what elephants go through. Sometimes they become so scared and they become introverted that they just become depressed completely, and they do nothing. They cannot do, okay, I surrender. This is my horrible, pathetic life. Do with me whatever you want. They go through that. But then there are some elephants, they're like, no, I can't take this anymore. And they attack and they kill. They become hyper vigilant, right?
And then
So
they
these are
blame the elephants. And then
yeah,
we blame the
they're
elephants.
you
Yeah.
can't blame, exactly, you cannot blame the elephants for doing that. And that's one of the things that humans do. It's like you are the one who caused this elephant to behave in this manner, and now you're blaming the elephant and saying the elephant killed you. I say I'm surprised it allowed you to live this long. I'm surprised you lived this long with the elephant, right? Because the elephant would should have killed you much sooner. I don't mean to sound
No, completely
you know
understandable. Completely
yeah,
understandable. Because
it's
they're
to
capable
me
of great strengths.
yeah, yeah,
And,
it
and yet you're there.
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, this is what I always wonder. Elephants are so enormous, so strong, and they are so powerful, yet they are put through this mental, um how would you say, it's called a process called pajan. And what they do is they tie the elephant's legs, hands, I mean the foreleg, the back leg, and then and tie them around, lock them inside a little wooden thing, and men beat and beat and beat and beat and beat and beat until the elephant surrenders and says, okay, all I want is some food and water. They starve them for 75 hours, 60 hours, until the elephants surrender. They are bleeding from all over the place until the elephants surrender. And so they break the elephant. The elephants are broken. Their spirit is broken, their body is broken. And so that's what leads to post-traumatic stress disorder, and they just surrender to the pathetic life. It's heartbreaking.
You know, one of the most weird part that I'm getting from till now this conversation is that we humans spend like in a very fantasy way. We are spending to find an intelligent life form out there in the space, and there is an intelligent life form in front of us, and see what we did with it.
Exactly.
See what we did with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And again, before this conversation goes any further, when you're talking about the religious aspect and this, it's not about a specific religion. It's not about a specific belief of a specific sect. No, it's about an animal, and that animal has no religion. It it's wild and free. And talking about a wild and free animal, I have heard that elephants, they mourn losses when somebody of their kind die, just like we human do. And
Yeah.
we think that yes, because we are capable of God gifted thoughts, and we are the one. They also doing it. Have you ever witnessed any kind of scenes like this? Elephants mourning losses. Can you share some of them?
Yeah, I have a video actually, and it is
Wow.
part of one of my films. And I'll share that with you, and you will see in that film this adult elephant is desperately trying to wake up a baby elephant. This baby elephant is not even her baby elephant. So here's what happened. The scientist whom I interviewed for this particular short film, he said that this wild elephant was with the herd, and all of a sudden she noticed this little elephant, like maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 week old, and this baby elephant was just lying like this near a log. And this adult elephant comes and say, come on, wake up, come on, wake up, and tries to do whatever she can to wake up. But ultimately the baby elephant died, and apparently the baby elephant was attacked by a tiger. But then it's not just that. Most recently there were videos circulated on all social media platforms, which I can share with you, in which they grieved the loss of their loved ones. A mother had lost her baby, and she would not leave her baby and walk away. She carries her baby, little baby, just a newborn, in her trunk, and she takes this baby far, far away, and she puts leaves and all these things on the baby as though she's burying the baby. And the whole herd is watching from a distance. And this was something that was documented by one of the conservationists in West Bengal. Actually, I think he's a DFO in Alipurduar, and he is one of the most prime examples of an individual who's trying to make a big difference, in the lives of elephants. And the video that he shared with us is just really, really touching. If I can find it, I'll send it over to you.
And We're talking about elephants. The experiences that you have shared, these are basically elephants of wild.
Yeah, wild
Right.
elephants. Yeah.
Now, can you give me some, for the viewers who are watching this, can you give me some, basic stock differences between elephants of wild and elephants of captivity? Like,
Yeah.
what the prime thing? Because we see the elephants of captivity and we believe that's an elephant. That's how elephants are. To actually
No.
give them an idea what elephants are, the difference of wild elephants and elephants of captivity.
Yeah, wild elephants are always seen in herd. Like they always wander across vast areas for hours on end, and they have a massive herd. Like maybe it's 10 or maybe it's 20 elephants, and all of them are protecting their little baby. So if they have a baby, that baby will always be in between an aunt and a mom. She will never be on the side because they're very, very protective, just like we are. They care for their young with all their life. And when they disperse seeds in their dung. I mean, that's the ecological benefits that they provide us as well, right? Their presence in the wild is so critically important. And I know you didn't ask me this question, but I need to interject and add the fact that they're not just culturally important, they're ecologically significant, because these elephants, they each elephant poops around 300 pounds or about 200 kilos of dung every single day. And in this dung there are rich seeds, because elephants cannot digest everything they eat. They can digest only about 40%. 60 to 65% of what they consume goes out. And so those seeds are rich and wholesome. So because those seeds don't get crushed by their teeth or digested, because they have a very unique digestive system. And so these seeds, they become trees. And trees give us oxygen to breathe and take up the carbon we put into the atmosphere, purifying the air naturally. So it is critically important that we make sure that these elephants roam in the wild, because they are natural gardeners. And how ironic that we are destroying the elephants and we are going and planting saplings in the forest and calling it afforestation. I mean, again, it's like the utter stupidity of human thinking, right? We already have an amazing natural gardener. Allow them to survive, allow them to thrive. So, coming back to what you said, but the physical appearance of the wild and captive elephants may be similar, but when it comes to captive elephants, as we discussed a little bit earlier, they are completely broken. They are shattered. They fear every moment of the life they live. They live in fear of getting beaten, fear of getting poked, fear of everything. And all they want is food and water. Just give me food and water and I'll do whatever you say. They surrender. That's not how wild elephants ever are. Wild elephants, they're very shy animals. If they see anybody, they'll just go away. I mean, unless they feel threatened. If they feel threatened in the wild, we've had like 2, 3 bull elephants come charging at us. Get out of here, right? But we just gave them the respect and space. And there were so many bull elephants who kind of like were interacting with me, and I've got all those amazing videos that I've gathered when I was in the forest. But with captive elephants, it's a different story. You can go near them if they are gentle, and if they're kind, and you can try to be kind to them, try to give them fruits, try to give them good food, do something for the captive elephants. Don't just go there and watch, oh, this captive elephant in the zoo. You can dedicate something when you're there, but understand that this is not a choice. This is by pressure, this is by force, this is not by choice. And so they miss their families just like we do. And as you mentioned earlier, their memories are so powerful. Their brain size is huge. They remember for a lifetime. So even in captivity, they remember their aunt, their uncle, their brothers and sisters, just like we do. And they come here and they suffer loneliness and stress, right? And it's just really unconscionable for people to capture an elephant from the wild, a baby elephant, which doesn't even have like a properly developed brain, and we break that baby elephant by beating that baby. Can you imagine somebody beating a 6-month-old human baby? That's what we do to the 6-month-old baby elephant. Like, put yourself in the elephant's shoes or in the other animal's shoes. Zoos and all these things are completely obsolete these days. You can see all animals in videos and films, and if you really want to go and see them, you can see them in the forest. There are safaris. Go see them in the wild, roaming freely. Don't go and visit any zoos. A big no to every single zoo. Shame on the zoos.
My God, that's a big statement because uh, if you are actually looking forward to see the animal, see them where they are comfortable,
Yeah,
isn't it? Like,
in
do you
their
understand?
natural habitat. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like seeing a big plastic model of elephant, same as seeing them in the zoo, because they are not in
exactly.
their natural being. And now
No,
coming
not
back
at
to
all.
taming elephant, yeah,
And yeah, and you won't see their natural behaviors in captivity. So what's the point in seeing them anyway? You
yeah,
want to see elephant in behaving like really in natural ways, interacting with their families, protecting their young. That is more joyful to the eye, to see elephants free, whereas to
yeah,
see the elephant in captivity, like how would you feel if you were in captivity?
bad, real bad. And people should think about it every time they visit a zoo and they see that elephant going through all that trauma and all. But now,
Yeah,
I think many people, and I want this to be coming out of your mouth so that people watching this listen it as for like officially. I will just say you one line and you end it the way you want to take it. Are elephants domesticable? Like, can we make elephants a domestic animal? Because the way the
absolutely
people
not.
see them, see, because people see
Absolutely
that.
not. Yeah. Absolutely not. In two words, absolutely not. A lot of people want us to believe that elephants can be domesticated, but they will never lose their wild instincts. They can never lose their wild instincts. And then people are shocked. Oh, why did you behave that way? Hello, because they cannot lose their wild instincts. No matter how much you tame, it's almost like, our eyes, we flicker our eyes involuntarily. There are involuntary actions. If a fly comes and sits on you, you're going to automatically crush it. If a mosquito bites, these are involuntary actions that we do without thinking. So elephants have involuntary behaviors that nobody can control. And if anybody tells you that elephants can be domesticated, they are totally wrong. Do not believe them.
If anything goes wrong, we can always blame the elephants, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's how
Exactly.
they.
Yeah.
Well, now, as long we are going through the way elephants are, they're the part of our society, of our culture, in utmost respect and the way things are. But the beautiful thing that you have said us is that culture needs to evolve. It doesn't mean you start. It doesn't mean we're disrespecting it. Culture should be something that should feel good for everyone, and it's culture. Culture is just a word under, it's an umbrella term under which everything comes. It's not specific to a specific culture or specific religion or specific sect. It's the animal should feel good about it as good we are feeling about it. Like the beautiful thing that you have done about the robotic elephants, that came out of nowhere. That was beautiful. And now coming to another aspect of the culture, I'm talking about Rajasthan, the Amer Fort in Rajasthan, where one of the uh, tourist hotspot is the elephant rides. What are you going to say about that? The elephant rides.
It's brutal. It's torturous. It's horrendous. Don't do it. Elephants, especially Asian elephants, their back, you will see it is like this. It's kind of
Okay.
convex,
Yeah.
right? And so their bone is protruding. Their backbone is protruding. On
Yes.
that backbone, they put this 300-kilo howdah. Imagine somebody putting such a heavy thing on your back. You put the howdah for the comfort of people, causing total discomfort to these poor elephants. And then you tie it with a rope which goes beneath their tail. They're not able to pee, they're not able to poo, they cannot do anything. You're blocking all of the conveniences for the elephants just to make sure that humans are comfortable and they're happy. So this is what goes on. And worse still, the Amur Fort flooring is made of hard rock.
Yes.
Elephant have very soft feet that are made for lush jungles and marshes. Their foot pad is extremely soft and gentle, and their nails and everything, it's designed for the forest, not designed for these concrete blocks and these rocks that they walk on. It is hot. It is unbearably hot. These poor elephants are forced to walk on these hot concrete pavements, carrying the weight not only of the howdah but of the people. Like on each howdah, you have 6 or 7 or 8 people sitting. Imagine the weight of each and every person. So that's probably about 500, 600 kilos on the back. Then people will argue and say, oh, well, elephants are huge. No, no, but their back is not designed for this. They have a stronger neck. And so in some places, they use the neck for dragging the logs. But even that you don't need because of mechanization. You have machines, you have trucks, you have lorries to carry all of that. What, I mean, this is what I'm talking about culture, right? On the one hand, our culture has evolved. We have this advanced technology, we have a modernization, we have all these things. And yet, on the other hand, some people are still clinging to the culture that prevailed before because we didn't have the mechanistic things that we have right now. But now that we have all of these conveniences, why on earth would you still cling to these ancient ways of doing things? That's not culture. Either if you want to cling to your culture, then walk naked on the streets, because that's how people used to be before. They didn't wear any clothes. In the past, in ancient times, the Homo sapiens, they were just roaming the forest just like the animals. They didn't know any difference between a man and a woman. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
like they didn't care. So if you really want to hold on to your culture, let's go back all the way and live the way they used to live. You can't pick and choose and say, oh, I'm going to have a cell phone where I can test and tweet and do all these things and have all these machines, yet I'm still going to abuse and harass these elephants. You can't do that. Like, that's pathetic. That's what humans do to justify their actions.
My God, that's well said. That's something people really need to know. It's not against the culture. We are not the the mission is not against the culture, but against
Not
the
at all.
abuse in the name of culture. And
Exactly.
those pretty beautiful animals. And the thing while you were saying about the soft padding under the leg, one thing that actually caught my attention, I heard it somewhere before in your uh, documentary, is that elephants' feet are so sensitive. Is it true? Elephant feet are so sensitive that even they can hear the slightest vibration in the
Of
forest.
course. Of course. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. They
Isn't it?
can hear even the most seismic vibrations. In fact, what they do is they send out vibration messages through their trunk. A herd of elephants, for instance, if you have a herd of elephants that are incredibly in danger and they want help, they send out messages to the other herd through the vibration, and the vibration is retrieved, is kind of felt by the footpad, right? And I experienced this live when I was there. So when we were filming a herd of elephants, in this particular herd, there was this one bull, Makna bull elephant, that is a tuskless bull elephant. He was in his must. So he had his girlfriend, and they were in this group, and he was mating with her. All of a sudden, this whole herd saw us. And I don't know what they did, but I know they sent out the message, this vibration. Lo and behold, in 5 minutes, our backside of the Jeep was surrounded by like 20 elephants. We have 20 in front of us, 20 behind us. We were terrified. We just, I'm like, okay, you guys can be terrified. I'm going to be on the back of the safari Jeep and filming them. And they did nothing to us because they realized that we are not a threat. But that is just a clear example of how they send messages through very subtle seismic vibration. They can even feel the tsunami coming from a long, far away. And when they get the tsunami alert in the vibration of their feet, they can go uphill, and they kind of wait there until the tsunami and the wave and the storms have disappeared. Elephants are awesome.
Awesome, literally awesome. The more this conversation goes in, and I'm like smitten by these elephants. And it might be a bit funny to say this, but I guess they found a Morse code before we did. Through those little seismic activities that go like little vibration. They found Morse code before we did. They have their
Of
own Morse
course.
code.
Of
And
course,
just
a lot
imagine
of
the
times
difference.
a lot of times there are so many things we copy from the animals and plants. Even plants, the castor seeds we get in India, when you throw it, how it sticks to your clothes sometimes, right? The castor seeds. Guess what? That helped us to produce Velcro. Velcro, yeah, that is the one that gave the scientists idea that, oh, we can create a Velcro using this pattern. And so
Fantastic.
that's just Yeah, that's just one example. Using the ant termite, the way the ant termite actually ventilates its home. There are people building homes in Europe using the model of the termite homes.
Fantastic thing. Great knowledge actually. I mean, the people should really know about that. And we
Yeah.
have this thing about Guru Dakshina in our culture, where we have to give something back to our teacher and see what we're giving them back. Not the good kind of Guru Dakshina we're giving over here. But anyway, coming back to the
Yeah,
coming back to
exactly.
the yeah, we are not the good students over here.
Yeah.
Good learner, bad students. But
Yeah, bad
we can
students.
say
Yeah, we're not honoring nature. Yeah.
no, no, no. But now, talking about these elephants, now there is another angle people like to say about that many of these elephants are born in captivity. What will they know about the pain and these kind of thing? Well, they are used to this kind of thing. So, what will you
Yeah.
say to them?
Yeah, no. Well, there are some elephants born in captivity. For instance, in Assam. And by the way, I must tell you, in Assam, they take the best care of captive elephants. I mean, captivity is a big no-no. But if in India, if there's any model, there's in Assam, they have a good model where they actually use the elephants for conservation, in the sense that they use the elephants for during the cropping season to drive away wild elephants and make sure that there's no human elephant conflict. And then when there are no cropping season, they allow the elephants back into the forest, but they put a drag chain to kind of detect where they are so they can find them. That's a different topic. But no, elephants born in captivity, they're nurtured in a different way. And they kind of are born into captivity. Not most elephants. Most elephants are born in the wild. So whoever tells anybody that most elephants are born in captivity, that's nonsense. Complete nonsense. Most elephants are born in the wild. And protecting those baby elephants is so critically important, because the number of elephants in India are declining dramatically, so much so that the Indian government is not even willing to release the census that they produced last year. So far, they haven't yet released it. The census was available in April or May of last year, but they haven't yet released it. And then finally, there's an institute in Dehradun, I can't remember the name right now, Wildlife Institute of India. They kind of put out a statement saying that there has been an 18% decline in elephants across India. But additionally, there are specific states where elephants are declining, and obviously Odisha is one of the top three.
My God. The state I am in right now is declining elephants here. We will be talking about Orissa just a while in a while. But there's one
Yeah.
thing that you know, while I was working on this elephant day segment and elephant and having conversation with you, there's one thing that popped up which actually, caught me off guard. There is a connection between, elephant trafficking and terrorism.
Mm, yeah.
People don't see that. They're like, okay, forests and going on and animals are dying, it's bad, it's sad, it's this and that, but there is a connection.
Yeah.
Can you just enlighten us on that? That'll be a
Yeah.
great
Yeah,
insight.
absolutely. Yeah. So wildlife trafficking is a 1 billion, no, not a 1 billion, sorry, $26 billion. It's the top four crimes around the world. Wildlife crime is a $26 billion industry. So what they do is, for instance, they poach the elephant. In Africa, this poaching goes on in Africa more than in India. But in India, especially in Odisha, it is becoming rampant. We'll come to Odisha, as you said,
Yes,
later.
yes, yes.
But in Africa, what they do is they poach the elephants, they take the tusks, and they sell the tusks, they sell the wildlife products, and they fund their ammunition, and they cause terrorism.
Made a bold statement about a connection between elephant trafficking and terrorism. Can you just share some light on that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, poaching is rampant across Africa. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of African elephants were killed just for the sake of their tusks. And the tusks were sold in order to acquire ammunition. Wildlife trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it is increasingly linked with terrorism, which is actually a national security threat. When you really think about it, they're selling the wildlife and they're procuring ammunitions, and then they're causing these kinds of terrorist outrage everywhere. Like I said, one of the things that happened in Kenya was the same Lord's Resistance Army purchased ammunition, selling wildlife products, and then they had this massive explosion in a mall, where 20 people were killed. So some terrorist organizations, they're based in like Central Africa, and those are the areas because where they have dense forests. And that's another thing. When you have dense forests, it's hard to find these, criminal organizations. There are so many criminal organizations, and they use wildlife trafficking to generate revenue, and that's how they supplement, the traditional sources of funding. Basically, it's like a funding source. So what happens is the ecosystem collapses, because when elephants collapse, or when these keystone species, as they are called, when they are decimated, it impacts the ecosystem. Obviously, human societies are terrorized by these actions that goes on, where you're using the ammunition that you purchased after selling wildlife products. I mean, it's destroying the ecosystem, it's destroying the wildlife, it's destroying human society. Overall, it's a very, very destructive industry that needs to be curbed right now.
True, and people should know about this. It's not just about when people think that we are just doing environmental safety protection. They think these are some fancy words. My friend, there is a big angle of terrorism out there. People should know,
Yeah,
and they have known now.
yeah,
Now, I will be coming to a I'm coming to a point. We have already discussed it earlier, and it is about to happen. Now, we're going to talk about Odisha, the place where I'm sitting and having this interview with you. Now, we're going to talk about that your organization has done quite a bit for Odisha. Like, can you share some light for the viewers who is listening about this for the first time?
yeah, sure. So my organization, Voices for Asian Elephants, we've been working in Odisha for the past 6 years, actually. We are working right now, partnering with Paribartan, which is a fantastic Odisha local-based organization. And so we have planted close to 100,000 elephant-friendly saplings in Palahara, Balasore, and right now we are actually planting in Susab. We have secured 16 acres of farmland for creating a corridor in the Susab forest. And now we're planting 30,000 saplings there. And we've also created 8 large water holes in Palahara, Balasore, and in Susab. We just finished the creation of one of the largest water holes there. And this is how we are trying to create the connectivity. So what this corridor will do is you have forest patches here, and in between, there's this massive farmland that comes in the way. And elephants, being a migratory species, you cannot control where they move because they have the migratory pathways carved in their mind. It's wired in their brain. So you can, no matter what you do, they will remember the path that their ancestors have walked. So they'll take the same pathway no matter what you have, whether it's farmland or whether it's, an electricity pole or whatever you have. And poor things have gotten killed. You know that in Dankanal, 7 elephants got electrocuted in
Yes, yes,
2008,
yeah.
and that was a devastating situation. I filmed that whole area. I have been to Palhara. We work with the tribal people, and that's the whole thing. I believe that when we work in collaboration with the tribal people, it is the best situation because, I think we have about more than 200 tribal people, men who do all the labor, and women are also used to do the plantation work. We have about 100 women, and they are beautiful, amazing women, so empowered. I've met all of them every time I visit Odisha. I come to Odisha twice a year, and I visit these women, and every time I visit, they shower me with so much love. But we are able to also employ them. We are able to ensure that we provide them with some kind of subsistence, while at the same time we empower them to protect the elephants. That's the best way to go about it, because as you know, right now the government doesn't care. It cares only about development, reckless development, completely unmanageable, and it's unsustainable more than anything. I understand that we have to actually sustain the burgeoning population, and India, of course, is the most densely populated country on the planet with 1.5 billion plus people. There are only about 20,000 elephants. You make that comparison. And here's another thing: humans can give birth to babies every 9 months. Elephants can give birth to babies only every 2 years. It takes them 22 months from the time it becomes pregnant. The gestation period is 22 months. So the rate at which elephants are being killed, they're just unable to keep up with the production. They're unable to produce the babies as fast as they're being killed. This is why we are seeing a significant decline in, and I am so disappointed with the Tatas. I have tried my best to talk to them. I've conducted several meetings. I sent emails. I've emailed one of the managing directors based in Mumbai. Every time I send an email, the response is, we are doing this, we are doing that. I'm like, okay, but it's not working. You're doing all of these things, but it's not working. So maybe you should try something different. We have, megaphones, and we tell people, no, elephants are still getting electrocuted. And the basic situation is the air breaker switches is planted like about 3 or 4 feet above ground, making it easier for poachers to connect live wires and spread it across the forest floor. Move it up so that the poachers cannot reach the live wires. That is exactly what is happening. If poachers cannot reach the live wires or cannot plug the live wires somewhere accessible, then they won't be able to electrocute and kill. And the poachers are mainly concerned about the wild boars that they want to poach and sell and make meat out of. But most of the times, elephants are also getting electrocuted. Now, aside from that, there are also electrical fencing, illegal high voltage electrical fencing that farmers are installing around their farmland. And they go completely unpunished. Unpunished. Just most recently, I would say in the last 3 weeks or so, there were three elephants back to back getting electrocuted. And while I understand that the forest department is trying to do the best, here's the thing: investigate, 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 investigate. Okay, you have investigated for so many years. What action are you taking now? Now, like right now.
This very moment, yeah.
So that's the problem with Odisha. It's like, you know, there's so much apathy, there's so much complacency, and there's so much negligence on the part of the electrical companies. And in order to prevent poaching, the electrical company needs to really come to understand that what they're doing is actually emboldening these poachers.
True, very true. And the things that seemingly I'm doing my corporate work is actually encouraging the people, as you said, the people who are actually being a problem for these elephants, and being problem for the elephants actually means indirectly being problem for everyone out there. Like you
Exactly.
said earlier, the gardeners, the true God's gardeners. And now there's another thing that you have done in Odisha, and that thing is that saving Odisha elephants from traffic deaths initiative, a thing that
Yes.
you have been part of, and the thing that you have done. Can you share some like how did you figure out the key spots where these hotspots, roadkill hotspots? How did you figure out what went through the process?
Yeah,
Can you
we
share
actually
some?
worked for that particular project. We worked with the Wildlife Protection Society of India, and Dr. Mohanty, Biswajit Mohanty. He is a fantastic conservationist. He's passionate, and I know he has rubbed people the wrong way because he speaks the truth, and truth really hurts. And I know that there are a lot of people who don't like what I say either, but we have to speak the truth. So Mohanty knows a lot of places where elephants are crossing. And so what we did was we installed massive signboards so that the truck drivers can see this massive signages, and they actually are how would you say, they lighten up during the night, and they have the psychedelic colors. And we have so many of the spots that we posted in Denkanal. But what Mohante did was he collaborated with the National Highway and figured out what to do. That we procured the sizes, exact size and everything. I went and visited many of those areas where they've installed these traffic signages. I mean, traffic signage is a basic commonsensical thing. It's not a rocket scientist who has invented it. You can install this, and this is the job of the National Highway to do it. Now, if you don't want to do it, we are more than happy to do it. At least collaborate with us. At least allow us to do this work. And that is yet another problem. It's like, there are people who will not do the work, but there are people who want to support and prevent elephant deaths, but the authorities don't want to collaborate. And here's the small-mindedness. You know why they don't want to collaborate? Because they don't want to look bad. It's like, oh, if you did this and if we didn't do this, it's going to make us look bad. It is such a small-minded attitude. And everybody's trying to preserve their own, self-preservation. I don't want the name of my department to get tarnished, so we're not going to say anything much. So there's no open conversation. There's no open communication. There's a lot of, and so there's a lack of trust. If you don't openly communicate and say that, hey, listen, this is a massive problem. We cannot solve all the problem. We don't have expertise in be humble, be honest, be open about it. And then we can all come together and say, okay, this is your area of expertise. This is my area of expertise. This is your area. Let's all come together. You focus on this, you focus on this, and you focus on this. And we all can do this. It's possible to do this because everybody has good intentions. I know that the Forest Department has good intentions. I know that the Odisha Forest Department, they feel horrible when elephants die. I know it because I always talk to Manoj Nair. He's a fantastic human being. But the problem is, let us do something right now.
True. Very true. Very true. And the thing that you said, that you love your elephants, you are hurt when they are hurt. What's stopping you?
Yeah, it's the ego, right? It's like the ego is stopping them. The ego is stopping them.
Needed. A bit of maturity is needed. Professional maturity, first of all.
Absolutely.
My God. Yeah. Because you are dealing with a very mature animal over there. It's good that you have maturity. Very mature animal.
Yeah. Good point.
The kind of conversation we had till now, the people who have watched it till now, and they would realize that we are actually having conversation with unparalleled intelligence. Truly unparalleled intelligence.
Totally unparalleled. You're right.
Yeah. And not only saving Odisha from traffic death is one of your beautiful, beautiful missions. There's another one. Can you talk about a bit like Project Flashlight?
Yeah, the Project Flashlight it is a simple concept, right? Some of these things are like commonsensical things. So people, they return home at night, right? And after dusk, elephants come out. There are other animals that come out. And if only you had a flashlight, what you're doing is you're alerting that animal, and the animals are shy. They're like, oh, somebody's on the way, so we're not going to come. And they kind of allow you to go. This has been happening in West Bengal, so much so that we have not had a single elephant death or human deaths in the 50 villages where we have distributed about 5,000 flashlights. And they're solar flashlights, so we're not causing pollution at all. And the families are happy because they know that we care about them. And even snake bites have reduced. Leopards, they see the flashlights and they're like, oh, we better not come out of the tea plantation. And so, again, it's a basic commonsensical. So we have actually brought that into Odisha, and we've distributed several flashlights to the villagers because villagers also return home after a hard day's work. And what happens is, when elephants don't know that humans are there, humans don't know that elephants are there, you run into each other and you panic, and then you start running, and then elephants panic and they think you're going to hurt them, and then there's the tragedy. To avert that tragedy, basic thing like flashlight, you're giving them an advance alert, like an advance alarm kind of thing, and saying, hey, we are on the way, just stay here, stay out of our way, and then just cross the path. So that is one thing. And one of the things that I am very proud of in Odisha is we have installed barriers across open wells. We installed in about we wanted to install in 100 across 100 wells, but here's yet another thing. We installed it in Dankanal, and I think we had it in about 15 or 20 or more, maybe even 25. No, we did it in 100, but there are thousands of wells still in Odisha. We've installed the barriers around the well, around 100 wells. So when we told about this to the Forest Department, guess what they said? They said, oh, well, we're going to install the rest. And what happened? I don't know. I don't think they've installed it around all the wells. I don't know. So this is where there's the issue. It's like we are ready to install, but then they're like, no, we will install because they don't want to look bad. Okay, well then go ahead and install, but they don't either. It's like, you don't let me do, but you don't do it either. So that's what I mean by the ego. And if this kind of pathetic and petty mentality persists, then it's really difficult to save elephants or any creature for that matter. Yeah.
We talked about one or two negative factors of conservation, elephant conservation in Odisha. But what are the main challenges that you have faced, your team have faced, um, in this mission in Odisha? The main primary challenges that's hindering the process in Odisha.
Yeah, to be honest with you, we have had really good support from the Odisha Forest Department. And, there's Dr. I think I can't Akineni or somebody, I can't remember his last name. Um, uh, oh my gosh, I can't remember his last name. But he was based in the tiger place. What's that called?
Simplipal.
Simlipal Tiger Reserve, right? That's where he was big. He was the RCF over there, and he is just a fantastic officer. So is Manoj Nair, and there are some really good Odisha Forest Department people who genuinely care about and they want to do the right thing, but they need the support of the authorities, and they all and a lot of times some of the lower level maybe rangers who are engaged, they just don't understand the root causes of the problem, and that means we need to create awareness among them. So that has been a huge issue overall. But then working with the tribals have been amazing. With the electrical company, we've had absolutely no luck. We are willing to work with them. We are willing, but there has to be an authentic, honest, and open communication. If you are going to get defensive and not acknowledge that what you're doing is not working or is not enough, then how can you work? Like, first of all, you have to identify the problem and acknowledge the problem. Without identifying the problem, how can you even think of implementing a solution that already exists? So you have to have that open mind. And so those are the two barriers that we face. It's like when there's a problem, there has to be an open and honest acknowledgement rather than just denying that, oh, it doesn't exist. Oh, we are doing whatever we can. If you don't acknowledge the problem, how can you solve any problem, right? That is a huge barrier, but not just in Odisha. That's a huge barrier across India, to be honest with you. But other than that, it has been a really pleasurable experience. Our partners on the ground, Parivartan, they are just absolutely dedicated and committed. And Mr. Dash, he is just a brilliant human being, and he understands what I'm all about. And it's almost like he knows if I say we're going to do something at a specific time, we better get it done. So they worked really with us, engaging with us. If they have a problem, there's open and honest communication. Mr. Swine is a really good community engaging person. He is actually the sort of backbone of this community engagement and development. So that has been a really great experience for me. And of course, it's overall, it's been positive. And we'll see how things progress. I heard that most recently the central government has imposed certain guidelines that are more development supportive and not conservation supportive. So that is a huge concern in India itself. Just recently, a report was released in which I think more than 2,000 hectares of land have been decimated over the last decade. And more than, I don't know, I think 29 hectares just in 1 month recently. So if we destroy the forest at this rate, there's no hope. And the other thing is, in Karnataka, they actually transported 5 or 6 elephants from a sort of like a camp where elephants live in a semi-wild state. They have been all rescues, but they still get to roam freely in an open area. They've been transported to a zoo in Japan. Why would you do that? To a zoo of all the places. And this zoo doesn't have the greatest reputation. In Japan all the way, as a gesture of exchanging of gifts. So this is what I mean when I say cultural abuse, right? They're abusing the culture and completely misinterpreting and misusing the cultural stuff. What about those elephants? You're talking about gift exchange. Are they gifts? Like, these are like living, conscious, emotional beings. Don't they have families? Don't they have friends? So
People really need to know. You got to treat animals like animals, and when say animals, you're also an animal. So am I,
exactly.
and so are they. We all are
I was,
animals.
I was just going to say, we all belong to the animal kingdom. Hello, right?
It's tree and us. We got to
Yeah,
respect each other. So
exactly.
now, we already, so Orissa was pretty much in a favorable side, excluding some of those ego problems and corporate issues that was going around. But Orissa people out there, I can see that they have been very helpful from Orissa, the tribals or the forest department officers you were talking about. But now this is a very hypothetical question kind of a thing. Let me give you, like, for this part of this moment, you have been given the highest authority, all the powers, everything happens the way you want. What's the first policy reform you will bring in Odisha, and what's the first policy reform you'll bring in India or Odisha, whatever?
Yeah, my first thing would be land reform, because right now the land is being recklessly used. And what I would do is I would allocate all of the lands that have been transformed into a farmland into making to rewilding it, which is kind of what we're doing right now, and continue to do it in a faster pace. Right now we are not able to do it as fast as we want, but and then what I'll do is I'll take these tribal people and I'll move them not too far away but around the forest fringes, and keep moving them, give them the subsistence, give them proper education, treat these people with respect, and give them jobs, give them employment, give them education, make sure that we treat them fairly. So, and we do this all of this in consultation with the tribal communities, right? There's so many tribal people, young people especially, they really want to move to cities, to the cities, right? They don't want to continue to live there because they see the city life on their cell phone and everything, and they're like, we want to get out of here. Many of them in Kerala, they really wanted to get out of there, get out of living in that village kind of place where they don't see um, an opportunity to progress, right? And so that's the first thing I would do: land reform, moving the tribal people out of the forests, which have now been transformed into farmland. Following that, we will rewild it and make sure that that elephants and wildlife, they have enough place to wander freely, and that itself will reduce human elephant conflict substantially. Then I will, of course, talk to the railway and the electrical companies and all of these stakeholders, and even the national highway people, and say, let us not cut through the forest. These are ancient migratory pathways. So while we understand that we need to give conveniences to people, let us find an alternative. You don't have to cut through the forest. You can take a little wider path outside the forest, right? Just because it's a shortcut, that doesn't necessarily give you the authority to just cut through the forest. So there are some inconveniences that humans would have to put up with, just to make sure that we don't have human elephant conflict and we can end tragedies. And this is what is going to cause or create a peaceful coexistence between people and elephants.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. The thing that you said, I wish it comes true. Like, anyway, this conversation, it was really. Uh, I love elephants. I'm actually myself. I love animals, kind of bit more than humans. Because I believe they. No,
Join the
huh?
club. Join the
Sorry.
club because I join the club because I love animals more than humans too.
No, in a way, it's not that I hate humans. It's just I find them really cute, irrespective of their size. When I say cute, in a cute, loving way. But anyway, we are slowly coming to an end. I would like to ask you to, or not ask you. I would like to request you to say something to the people who are watching you today, or watching you any moment of the day, any moment of the time they're watching this, and they have come this far of the video. And good people, though, that you have come this far of this video because you truly care.
Just know that each and every one of you can make a difference. I am nobody special. What I did was I just followed my heart, and I pursued the steps and the actions. If you feel something, that means it is coming from your heart. Make sure that you take action. Don't just dismiss the feeling that comes. Always, when it comes from your heart, it is intuitive, it is guided, it's divinely guided. So please pay attention to your heart. If you see an animal suffer, do something about it. If you see trash, if you see plastics on the road, pick it up, throw it in the garbage. I do it every single time when I go to the walk in the park. There are plastics around. I pick them up and I toss it in the garbage. It's not going to bring you down. Actually, it's going to lift you up because Mother Nature knows it. So each and every one of you has the power and the capacity to do what is necessary. Don't ever allow anybody to tell you otherwise. And if you feel something, take action immediately, because our earth is going through a major crisis right now. And if each and every one of us cannot do what we want to do, then there's no hope. But at the same time, collectively, we can make a huge difference. Not one person can do everything. I can't do everything. Each of us has to do our part.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful conversation. Thank you. What an unforgettable conversation. From the dusty temple paths of Kerala to international stages and UN panels, Sangita Iyer reminds us that true activism is deeply personal, and that the fight for elephants is a fight of our shared humanity. Let's not let these gentle giants be reduced to rituals or forgotten in bureaucratic files. On World Elephant Day and every day, let's remember our planet is only as sacred as the way we treat its most vulnerable. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep watching OP Talks.